This is Juanito, a 40-year-old post-conflict victim who wants to accomplish his dream of opening a new eco-friendly sustainable idea of glamping in the area of San Jose de Apartado. He wants to attract more tourists to this area to show how beautiful his town is, even though it is a conflicted area of Colombia. Although the town was already in conflict, on February 21 of 2005, there was a mass murder where 3 kids and 5 adults were killed by violence in the country. This event happened by members of the Colombian army together with the paramilitares and the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia. Since then, the community of San Jose de Apartado is considered a post-conflict area that has been trying to recover from war. The only issue was that the territory he wanted to buy belonged to an ex-paramilitar that had done awful things to his people and his town. He perceived the ex-combatants as the outer group since from his point of view, they were not empathic, they made only harm without no reason. They were the only reason the country had an armed conflict. He thought, what can I do to confront this situation? So he went to negotiate with the ex-paramilitar the territory he wanted to use to build his dream as he was the owner of it. Jorge, the ex-combatant, was amazed with Juanito's visit. He perceived Juanito and his people as traitors and enemies since they helped some members of the FARC. This happened because of schemas in both groups created mental representations that formed stereotypes leading to discrimination towards people that didn't fit their inner group, which was why Juanito and the ex-paramilitar had negative perceptions towards one another. Juanito and Jorge started negotiating and exchanging their experiences and perspectives, which led to both of them understanding the situation of the other. After finishing the negotiation, their schemas changed, changing the mental representations and therefore deconstructing the stereotypes and the perceptions they had towards each other. So finally, Juanito could start building his dream. Juanito's main target with the glamping company was for tourists interested in sustainable and environmentally friendly companies, as these are the ones that can help recover the economy of San Jose de Apartado after going through the armed conflict. Andrea, a business manager who worked in market research and analysis and who was Juanito's best friend, told him that his competition were hostels that were cheaper and more accessible for customers in the area. As glamping is a place to stay in nature with the idea of going to interact with the area, with its fauna and flora, it could become a very attractive and requested place by tourists who want to visit and get to know the story of San Jose de Apartado and also contribute to the economy of the town. After this, he reached out to Eduardo, a family economist who is an expert in ecotourism, to talk about the economic effects of the creation of his business. He was worried about the competition that goes around the country. Eduardo told him that as there are more glamping areas around the country, the competitiveness is high. Therefore, joining this market will cause prices of the business to decrease, which will help the macroeconomic goals of achieving a low inflation. Juanito then asked Eduardo what would be the impact in the short term and long term of the creation of his ecotouristic business, because he remembered that he specifically told Andrea that all he wanted to do was help his town in all aspects. Eduardo answered that with his project he would be generating more employment and helping tons of people by improving their life quality because they would have the possibility to receive a stable income and help to reduce inequality. In the short term, he needed to know that there would be higher cost of production and that it would be a lot more difficult to enter the competition, meaning that a long time would pass before he received any type of profit. Juanito, don't worry, said Eduardo. As consumption and production will increase, you will be generating more profit than you used to. And lastly, he said, you will generate more employment and capital flow that in the end will support sustainable ecotourism. Juanito and Eduardo then called Andrea. She told Juanito that he needed to take into account the fixed cost of glamping, as there would be the rent of the land, taxes, labor, insurance, cleaning costs, electricity, water, internet marketing, and general maintenance, which would be difficult to pay because after this area experienced the armed conflict, the economy declined markedly and was affected by the lack of income in San Jose de Apartado. Eduardo said that he also needed to take into account the country's economic condition and that it would be better for him if he started his business when the country was receiving a considerable amount of imports to be able to buy the initial resources for construction at lower prices, which was a benefit for him as he would be able to supply more with lower cost of production and control inflation. Taking into account all these factors is what will allow Juanito to build up his dream business of an eco-glamping successfully and contribute as well with the community of San Jose de Apartado, not only by bringing in tourists, reactivating the economy of its residents, but giving them a better life quality and helping them to overcome their post-conflict consequences.